They had to have something here. Time for Sonic. Zoom! Too fast. Needed this to pull away here. And again, just too easy, too fast to the corner. Maybe a little much there at the end. The good teams find a way. The great teams find a way and still win by multiple scores. The Lions, on the strength of their running game, Jahmyr, Gibbs, and their defense, come out victorious in Week 12 over the Indianapolis Colts, 24-6. The Lions now move to 10-1, and the Colts now fall to 5-7. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Johnny Gaz. Thank you for returning for another video. The Lions, uncharacteristically, were tough on offense today, and they had to have a solid defensive performance to hang in there. They turned to their bread and butter, Sonic and Knuckles, primarily Gibbs in the second half, and they're able to hang on for a victory in Indianapolis. Again, 24-6. Let's go through our game reaction. We'll look at the team stats, box score. I'll give up my game balls and game MVP. Let's go. Before we get into the Lions' gritty win in Indianapolis, make sure to slap that like button if you dig the vibe here at Johnny Gaz Sports. I'd love it if you consider subscribing to the channel. We are well on our way to 3,000 now, thanks to you guys. And if you hit the notify bell, you won't miss any future videos. We do have a membership option available. I just came off my live game play-by-play reaction. We do our tier list, a ton of other fun stuff, but there's always free content here for you. Thank you guys so much for coming along for another video. Make sure to comment down below. What did you think of the Lions' performance in Indianapolis? I appreciate you guys so much. I love talking Lions football. Let me know how you feel about the Lions going to 10-1. Let's get into Week 12. Week 12 was a very interesting game. Detroit started very slow offensively, and there were times where they really went into a lull. Uncharacteristic, but they had to rely on their defense, and they really came through today in Indianapolis. They only gave up 6 points to the Colts, nothing in the second half. As a matter of fact, they forced nothing but punts and a turnover on downs. After the first half, this is the Colts sequence of drives. Punt, 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 turnover on downs. That's how great teams win football games. This Lions team is able to not only lean on an historic offense, but even when that offense doesn't play up to speed, they are now able to go and rely on a defense. And we've never been able to say that in years past, but this Lions team truly is able to overcome just about anything. They went into this game without linebacker Alex Anzalone. We know they've been without Hutch for some time now. They were also without cornerback Terrion Arnold. They also lose Carlton Davis at points during this game. So they're going in with backup cornerbacks and relying on their front seven, a short-handed linebacking crew, and some dominant safeties, and man, did they come up huge in Indianapolis. Lions offense was able to get the right things going at the right time, turn to their true bread and butter, which is their offensive line, their run game. Taylor Decker went down for a short period of time. Dan Skipper filled in admirably. Thank goodness Taylor Decker was able to come back in and things continued to roll on the ground. Even when they were able to stifle them in the interior, the Lions were able to get creative, use Jahmyr Gibbs at the right times and the right places, and he was able to make plays. And as the Lions have done through several points over this season, they put their foot down on these matchups that they are supposed to win. Defensively, they lock it down, and they are finally able to get first downs in key moments at the end of the game to lock this up. Again, Lions win this matchup in Week 12, 24-6, moving to 10-1 on this season. Let's first start by going through the team stats, and really after that first drive by the Colts, the Lions took over as far as time of possession and really controlled this game as far as that goes. They had 26 first downs compared to the Colts 11. Third down efficiency, that's where the Lions were really better and showed their offensive talent over this Indianapolis Colts team. Lions 9 of 15 versus the Colts 3 for 12. Now, Lions didn't go crazy as far as yardage in this particular game. They only had 390 total yards compared to Indianapolis's 268. Yards per play average was just about the same. Lions had more passing yards and rushing yards, but again, did not blow them out of the water. I think I wouldn't call them slow offensively, but I just thought they were uncharacteristically inconsistent, and we'll talk about some individuals here as we get into that box score. Rushing the football again, I thought the Lions were just better overall than the Colts were on the ground. Obviously, they have the two-headed monster with Montgomery and Gibbs is really good in this game. We'll look at that here in a moment. So 137 on the ground compared to the Colts 96. And here's where we, I think, get into the meat and bones of where the difference in this game ended up being. Lions were way better in the red zone when they're able to get down in scoring opportunities. They converted. They were 3 for 4 of red zone opportunities. The Colts were 0 for 2 with a really bad drop that could have brought them close. I think that was at the end of the first half. As sloppy as this game was, there were no turnovers either way. The Lions a little less penalized. The Colts had 10 for 75, Lions 5 for 45. And as I mentioned, they really controlled time of possession. Lions at 37-01 compared to the Colts 22-59. And as I mentioned, it was an odd contest. Let's look at the individualized stats. Let's compare. First, let's start with the quarterbacks. And can you believe it? No touchdowns, no interceptions for either guy in this matchup. Jared Goff, 26 of 36, 269 yards, was sacked 3 times, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Anthony Richardson from the other side, 11 of 28 for 172. Again, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He also was not sacked on the day. So again, I think limited what Anthony Richardson was going to do in this game. I think they again committed back to the run. I think they were able to more early on in the game get him involved in the run game. So obviously that limited the passing stats. On the other side with Jared Goff, I think he was just inconsistent today. He had some floaters. He missed some guys, mainly Sam Laporta. I thought him and Sam just could not get on the same page. So again, weird statistic-wise as far as quarterbacks are concerned. Let's take a look at some others. Richardson also led his team in rushing. 10 carries, 61 yards, had the long of 17. Jonathan Taylor, who again I think is a good running back, and I don't think they get him involved enough or at least do enough schematically to get him involved, had 11 carries, 35 yards only. So 21 carries for 96 yards. That's really where their average is on the season. On the other side, the Lions, this is where they were really able to take over, and I think Jahmyr Gibbs was the star of this game. 21 carries, 90 yards, had the 2 touchdowns, also a long of 17. David Montgomery, before going out of this game in the second half, had 8 carries, 37 yards, had some tough catches as well, which we'll talk about, a 13-yard long. Some of the backups got in. Craig Reynolds got a carry. J-Mo on the end around got a carry. And Jared Goff had to scramble for his life a little bit here and there, so he also had some carries. 33 carries overall, 137 yards, and 3 scores on the ground. That is how the Lions were able to get some things going offensively. And as we saw in the quarterback stats, not an explosion receiving yards-wise. So really, starting with Indianapolis, Michael Pittman I thought was very good. He was tough against the Lions. Difficult secondary. Of course, they were down a player or two eventually, but Michael Pittman had 6 receptions for 96 yards, a 30-yard long. Alec Pierce, just the 1 reception long for 39. Josh Downs was good at times, 3 receptions for 27. On the Lions end, J-Mo putting in work. It seems like every week he gets just a little bit better and better, and they'd have more trust in him, more first downs. 5 receptions, 64 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a little lighter of a day, 6 receptions, 62 yards. He was thrust into a punt return and kick return role when Khalif Raymond went out. We'll talk about that in detail down the road. And again, Tim Patrick, another good week for him. Multiple first downs on the day. 4 receptions, 55 yards, and a long of 27. I thought he's been getting better and better as the season has progressed. Brock Wright, Sam Laporta both involved. Multiple catches for them. 24 yards for Wright, 19 yards for Sam Laporta. But again, I thought there was a disconnect between him and Jared Goff. He missed him on several long tries, and it just wasn't there today. We'll see if they can kind of work things back as they get together more over the next several weeks. And moving over to the defense, starting with the Colts, they did have some guys that made plays. I thought their defensive front was really good in this game. They were able to get after the offensive line and Jared Goff enough to make things difficult. And again, it made the Lions offense look uncharacteristic compared to how they've been playing in several weeks. Nick Cross, Zaire Franklin, EJ Speed, DeForest Buckner, Samuel Womack all made plays in this game. Franklin, Buckner, Latu all had sacks on Jared Goff. Over on the Lions side, Jack Campbell, I thought filled in admirably, and he doesn't replace Alex Anzalone, but he takes over all of the duties, all of the calls. He kind of controls the defense, and obviously they only gave up 6 points today. He also led the team in tackles. So he, again, defensively, I think was the star of the day. Behind him, Malcolm Rodriguez, 8 tackles. Brian Branch was involved. Kirby Joseph both had 4. And then you have Kendall Vildor, Josh Pascal, each with 3 tackles for the Lions. For the special teams, as far as in the return game, not much to write home about, but the one thing of note is the injury to Khalif Raymond. Looks like a knee or hip injury of some kind. I think it was a knee. He was carted off, tried to come back, was carted off again, so we'll have to monitor his status. In jumps Amon-Ra St. Brown to fill that role. really didn't do much, and I don't think they really want him to do much as a punt returner, but he fills in, has the good hands, and certainly solidifies that area for the Lions. Kicking wise, Jake Bates again continues his consistent 2024, hits a long field goal of 56, extends this lead to 24-6 and ended the scoring for the Lions. Matt Gay on the other side for the Colts, 2 of 2, the long of 29. Didn't need much out of him, but converted on both attempts. Jack Fox, I thought, was good punting the football. Again, was able to flip the field a few times. He actually did have to punt the ball 4 times today, 192 yards, 60-yard long. Another reason why he's a true special teams weapon for the Lions. Rigoberto Sanchez punted 6 times for the Colts, 317, and also had a long of 62. I also thought he was very good. A punting clinic put on in Indianapolis. All right, let's give out some Week 12 game balls and talk about the game MVP from Lions versus Colts. Let's start with the Lions offense. And again, I thought they struggled at times. They started slow. They really just weren't as characteristically good as they have been the past several weeks. But I think you first have to start with running back Jahmyr Gibbs. And not only was he good throughout the entire game, you were then able to lean on him when David Montgomery goes out. And I thought he was truly fantastic. I mean, his speed, honestly, is amazing to watch. It's almost effortless how he's able to beat guys to the corner around the edge. And he was really good. 21 carries, 90 yards, and had the 2 touchdowns. He was dynamic yet again. Sonic and Knuckles dynamic, and it's unfortunate what happened to David Montgomery. We'll monitor him, but certainly Jahmyr Gibbs gets a game ball. I think also I give a game ball to Jameson Williams. I thought he was really good today. I think he's been so sure-handed now over the past several weeks. Ever since returning from the suspension, he's gotten progressively better. He had 5 catches on the day, 64 yards, multiple first downs. They're able to use him in so many different ways, and he's going to be very important to this offense moving forward, especially if they are without Khalif Raymond. Let's move over to the defense, and I think that's where you have so many game balls to give out. I think the only weak spot was the backup or the depth cornerbacks, which were truly picked on today. Kindle Vildor was a liability at times, and they're going to have to determine what to do with that if they have extended injuries at that position. Outside of that, the defense was fantastic, and I'm giving a game ball to everybody today. In particular, though, I'm going to start with Malcolm Rodriguez. I think with the loss of Alex Anzalone, you're already down Jalen Reeves-Maybin. You're asking a lot of not only Jack Campbell, but Malcolm Rodriguez, who finished second in tackles today with 8. I thought he was all over the field. He is such a surefire tackler, such a hard player, and he's a great number 2 to Jack Campbell in that linebacker room. And although there are game balls all over the defense, let's focus on what I think was their best unit today, their defensive line. And again, they gave up yardage early to Anthony Richardson, but after that, they clamped down. No touchdowns on the day, only 6 points. The yardage was minimal. Truly, they gave up nothing to their actual running back, Jonathan Taylor, and that's due to their interior. Guys like Ali McNeil, DJ Reader, both of those guys get a game ball. I thought Zadarius Smith was good at times. I'd like to see a little bit more out of him. Obviously, we want guys to actually get to the quarterback, but against Richardson, that's very tough. So I'm not going to beat him up for that. Overall, I thought they were good, and again, they clamped everything down after giving up the 6 points to the Colts. So I'm giving game balls all over that defensive line. And if the defense has game balls all over the place, that has to be where our game MVP comes from for Week 12, Lions versus Colts. And I'm giving this one to the well-deserved Jack Campbell. I just think there's so much asked of him as a second-year linebacker, and throw everything now on top of him with the Alex Anzalone injury. You have to take the brunt of the tackling situation. He now wears the green dot. He's controlling the defense. We've heard the coaching staff talk so highly about him, and it's now showing. I thought he was really even good in pass coverage today. He made several tips and diving plays and was all over the field. He led the team in tackles with 9 and was truly fantastic. So Jack Campbell gets my game MVP here for Week 12 against the Colts. That's going to do it for my Week 12 game reaction. What did you guys think of this Lions victory in Indianapolis? Weird offensive performance, but dominating defensive performance. What a great thing to see and a great thing to talk about on these game reactions. Let me know what you thought down below in those comments. Make sure to hit that like button if you dig the vibe here at Johnny Gaz Sports. I'd love it if you consider subscribing to the channel. We're on our way to 3,000 now, thanks to you guys. And if you hit the notify bell, you won't miss any future videos. There's a membership option available. If you hit the blue join button, I'll walk you through how you can become a part of the family. More than anything else, make sure to take care of yourself and your mental health. That is more important than anything. I want to make sure you come back and see me on future videos. Thank you guys so much for your time. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Let's have a great turkey week. Go Lions.